This fab fact has to do with something that we've all seen on television many times, and that is a pre-title sequence.
Oh, yeah, love them.
You know what they are, the scenes before the opening credits, designed to hook the viewer's attention by showing them an inciting and hopefully exciting and hopefully enticing incident that kicks the story off, or what?
As I call it, in this house, Charlotte's job.
Yes, because she's the clever editor, isn't she?
Yes, and she did all that in Space Precinct, yeah.
Yeah, well, she did a beautiful job with those. So,
she did.
We all want those incidents that kind of kick off the story in some dramatic way and makes you want to keep watching. Now, these days, most television dramas incorporate pre-title sequences, but back in the 60s and the 70s, it was a bit more random. Some shows did, some didn't, but most of the Anderson shows didn't, although pre-title sequences were a feature of both The Protectors and the first season of Space 1999. But what was the first Anderson show to incorporate a pre-title sequence?
Oh...
Well, Richard, it seems only just that to celebrate the 200th podcast, we're talking about an episode of your favourite and very much mine.
Yes.
Joe 90.
Of course it is.
So,
great.
Yes, dear old Joe featured pre-title sequences on 15 of its 30 episodes. Now, these would normally involve some kind of a disaster or a naughty villain twirling their moustache, or otherwise setting up some problem that Joe would then have to sort out later on. But since pre-title sequences were only used on half the episodes, maybe it was a bit more of an experiment, or just down to the individual editor's discretion. Who knows?
Yeah.
If it was an experiment, evidently it was judged a success, because the first Anderson series to incorporate pre-title sequences on all of its episodes was the very next show in that sequence, The Secret Service. However, the script for the first episode of The Secret Service indicates that the plan was originally not to feature a pre-title sequence to set up the story. Instead, an exciting clip from much later in the episode was to be played out of context before the opening titles instead. And in the case of the first episode, that was to be the chase scene from near the end of the episode where Father Unwin and Matthew are being pursued by the Dreisenberg agents.
Okay.
So, in a way, it would have been a spiritual successor to the This Episode montage of Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
You'd be presented with an exciting sequence, and if you wanted to see it again or how it fits in the story, you'd have to watch the episode. Now, as we all know, that idea never made it to screen. Maybe it could have worked out, but showing an entire scene that you're going to show again later on in the episode, perhaps it wasn't the greatest idea, especially since the pre-title sequence for episode 1 would have included Unwin and Matthew successfully escaping the enemy agents that they were chasing them, so giving away the whole success of the thing.
Yeah.
It's not the best idea.
No.
But, you know, we do that on this very podcast, don't we?
Yes, but can you remember when we started to do that?
Of course, I can't remember that.
Because for a while we didn't, and then you had the brainwave.
Well, yes, what a genius brainwave it was, obviously.
To make it feel more Gerry Anderson-y, let's have this episode.
Yeah, and well, I think it works.
Yes.
But what do you think, Podstrons?
So you never really considered actually taking, rather like Secret Service, taking a part of the podcast, the most dramatic, maybe, I don't know, Chris Dale doing the randomizer and putting that up front before the titles?
The randomizer choice at the opening of the episode. Yeah, we should have done that. Absolutely. Well, we do that a little bit, not quite that, but in every week we have a teaser.
Yes.
Which just gives you a bit of this episode and a little tiny blast of the interview.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
Yeah, it's a kind of spiritual continuation of all things Anderson. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know where you sit on the This Episode montage thing or the kind of pre-titles sequence. But I think it's an exciting hallmark of all things Anderson, and sort of feels almost wrong to not have them now.
Oh, I agree. I like to be enticed. I like to see a bit of what I'm in for. I like it.
And the Space Precinct ones were very similar, I feel, to Thunderbirds, really.
Yeah, true.
So that was a lovely callback. Anyway, what do you reckon, Podstrons? Let us know your thoughts on pre-title sequences and all that sort of stuff, and This Episode montages, podcast at gerryanderson.com.
Ah, yes, but if you do that, could you please include a montage of the email before you write the email?